will now be on the record in 23 TR 2777, State of Kansas versus Anthony Edward Dubas. Jared Regier for the state. Is Mr. Dubas present? Anthony Dubas?
I am Anthony Edward Dubus. Dubus is the English pronunciation. Dubus is the original French. And I am appearing specially in propria persona, not pro se, as sui juris.
Okay, first of all, I can't see you, so you're not here.
Parent satisfied?
Thank you, sir. Now,
absolutely.
As far as I need to go, well, we need you back here in person.
Okay, well, it's propria persona, not in person. I'm not the legal entity that you're claiming me to be.
All right, sir, if I can't get you on camera, you're not here.
I'm doing so right now. I'm just removing it as a case. It takes a while.
Now, the second order of business, let's get your name straight. I know a family with the same exact spelling in America, and they do pronounce it Dubus, but you said you pronounce it
Dubus, as the original Dubus, as the original French. Yep.
Very well, Dubus.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Mr. Dubus appears in person and pro se.
Correction, propria persona.
Well, in this court, it's in person, and
correction, in all courts, it may be either pro se, either appear in person, or propria persona.
Well, in my years of law school and nearly 40 years of practice, both as an attorney and a judge, it's been in person, and that's what I'm going with, sir. I believe that is just fine. So, in any event, we will proceed with your charges. In count one, sir, you're charged with operating a motor vehicle on a highway of this state without having a valid driver's license pursuant to KSA 8-235A. In count two, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, you did then and there unlawfully operate or attempt to operate a motor vehicle, to wit, a 2003 Honda Accord, upon a highway of the state, to wit, 1700 block of East Foxdale Street, Andover, Butler County, Kansas, while the vehicle was not registered in violation of KSA 8-142. In count three, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, Anthony Edward Dubus,
Thank you, Ma'am.
did then and there unlawfully and intentionally drive a motor vehicle upon a public highway or property open to use by the public and failed to provide proof of insurance upon demand by a law enforcement officer. Now, sir, if you had insurance when you were stopped but just didn't have it with you or couldn't find it quickly, just provide proof to the county attorney and they'll most likely dismiss that charge. But if you really didn't have insurance, you're looking at a Class B non-person misdemeanor. The law does require a minimum fine if you're convicted of $300 up to $1,000. And it does have a possible jail sentence up to 6 months. Those are the charges against you. You do have the right to an attorney. You can hire any attorney of your choice, but if you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. You don't have to have an attorney, though. You can waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself. So that's an order of business we need to take care of today, is whether you want an attorney or not. And then another is to make sure that you understand what the charges are and the possible penalties. Do you have any questions for me about that?
Yeah, I don't understand the nature and cause of the charges. I have not had my accuser face me to bring the charges against me, as is a violation of due process. and I want to correct for the record of the court, the named defendant is different than the named person, being myself. Hold on, let me make sure I get that in view of the camera. The named person here is different than the one named in the charges and the counts, being a difference of representation of who exactly it is the charges are against. And it is to my belief and knowledge that per KAR 8243 subsection A, exemption from the motor carrier safety regulations, A, the occasional transportation of personal property by private motor carriers that is not for compensation and is not in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise. I am exempt from these rules and regulations, and if I need to get a USDOT number to show that I was not operating a commercial motor vehicle or as a common carrier for business or for profit or in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, I will be more than happy to produce that USDOT number to show that I am in fact a private motor carrier, not operating in commerce, not driving, as I'm merely transporting and traveling.
Mr. Dubois, you are not charged under the Uniform Commercial Carriers Code as adopted by the state of Kansas. You are charged just as a motorist operating a motor vehicle. Again, not a commercial vehicle. These are not laws that are subject to the commercial code or to the administrative regulation that you referred.
Although you mentioned the word operating, operating is a term used for the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, or driving, operating, the physical use or furtherance of for-profit business or for compensation.
It may under the commercial code, but not under the code otherwise.
It is under Kansas, correct?
It is not under Chapter 8 of the Kansas statutes or Chapter 40, which are filed under. But we can address that at a later date at a trial or a motions hearing if necessary. But I do not see the statutory language that you're addressing being applicable to these statutes, at least preliminarily at this hearing.
It is within, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's my ruling there. And then on the name issue, I am not tracking you there. The only difference I see is that at the top of the document, state of Kansas and your name are capitalized, and in the initial or in the individual charges, it's traditional capital letter of the first name, all lowercase of the remaining names throughout. So I'm not following that argument. Again, if you want to readdress that at a later date, we can, but I'm just not seeing that argument.
Okay.
Now
then. I motion and move this court to dismiss this case for the motion I have filed and for the brief in support of motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction.
Sir, I do not have any such motion or brief in support. Mr. Regier, have you received any such documents?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor, and so I fail to see, at least at this juncture, how such a motion is properly brought before the court, unless the court is aware of something that I am not aware of.
Well, that's what I'm trying to decide, if it's properly before the court. Mr. Dubois, who did you file the motion and brief with?
Well, seeing as your guys' e-file is down for what is it? It's called a ransom malware or something. I cannot e-file.
Right,
so
but you can mail it, or you can walk it into the clerk of the court. Have you done that?
Yes, I've mailed it. by email,
But-
which a
and I'm
court
sorry,
clerk
but I-
said I could.
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. It was by email, which the court clerk said I could, considering the e-file was down. And I
Alright.
can't really go 20 something miles to do that, considering my personal property was stolen.
Judge,
When did you
to-
email it, sir? When did you email it?
A while ago.
Judge,
Yeah.
Yes.
we do not accept emailed filings, only faxed or by mail or person.
Okay,
I'm
I was
sorry.
told that they do not have fax, so I could not do that. So email would be okay.
He may have called the wrong courthouse then.
They spent 10 minutes finding my case because your guys' system was down. So I'm fairly
recall
certain it was
which-
the correct one.
Okay. Do you recall which you file or which court you called?
Let me go to my sent. T Stafford at bucokansas.com.
I think that might be at the county courthouse, not the district courthouse.
Okay. So
Is
if
it?
you want,
Okay.
if you want to file something, sir, let's make sure you file it in a fashion that will get it officially recognized. So Ashley, how do you suggest he file motions and the like?
He will either need to mail us a copy of it or he can fax file.
And is your guys' fax active?
Yes, that has been the whole time.
Okay.
It's
And
not effective, yes.
what's the fax number?
Our fax number is 316-321-9486.
Okay. And my honor, I have one last question. For the nature and cause of these charges, is it a criminal or is it a civil matter?
This is a criminal matter.
Okay. As is a criminal matter, there are two jurisdictions which I may be tried. One is the common law, and the other is a military tribunal. Which of those two do you intend to try me in?
I intend to try you in this one, sir.
Which is this one? Please elaborate.
The criminal one.
Well, criminal has two jurisdictions. It is either the common law or it is the military tribunal.
Well, sir, we're not going to go into that at this point.
Are you refusing to acknowledge to me and tell me the nature and cause of the charges?
I have told you the nature and the cause of the charges.
You are not elaborating.
I think the remaining issue, sir, is whether you're going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself.
My honor, I need to know whether or not this is going to be in the common law or a military tribunal.
Well, I am going to ask you one more time. Are you going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself, sir?
Again, I'm not representing myself. I am sui juris in proper persona, and propria persona.
So you're not going to have an attorney, or are you?
No, I'm not going to be presented or represented by any British agent, registrant, or anybody else to be a ward of the state. I'm standing on my rights and I do not abrogate them. And if you're going to continue to move this court without any sort of evidence, well, I guess I'll have to file that, but
We're going to set your hearing. How do you want to plead to the charges first? Then, if you don't want to have an attorney, how do you want to plead to no valid driver's license?
My honor, are you attempting to administer the trust without permission and consent?
I'm asking you for your response. I'm giving you the chance to respond. Do you want to plead to this charge or not?
My honor, I don't make any pleas as I am appearing in proprietary persona, and any plea would submit jurisdiction to the court. I am here challenging jurisdiction under the common law as I am owed the law of peace. And this is a fraud action, as fraud in the inducement from the beginning under due process violations from Deputy Khalid Barake and the other officers or sheriffs that were on scene. And if you are attempting to administer the trust without consent of myself, the living man, the grantor, in common law, which is above Admiralty Maritime law, then you will be in violation of Article 3, Section 2, the trial of all crimes, except in case of impeachment, shall be jury, and such trial shall be held in a state where said crime shall have been committed, but when they are not committed with any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. And as there is a difference between the Republic State Kansas before the state of Kansas was brought into the Federation of the Union of States. And you will also be in violation of I'm getting it real quick. 18 U.S. Code sections 2381, treason. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States, the corporation, not United States of America or for America, levies war against them or adheres to the enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Now, I, Anthony Edward Dubus, the proper case trade name, not the all caps legal entity of which you're attempting to administer the trust of, am an American state national, a Kansas state national per 8 USC 1101 subsection 21, and is recognized by the Kansas Human Rights Commission as I have dealings with them going over my nationality in regards to a corporation in which I have a complaint filed against, has already been refused mediation by the company and is being investigated by Barbara Carper, the special investigator of Kansas Human Rights Commission, over my case specifically. And if you're attempting to move this case against myself, you are in violation of executing law rather than just judging on it. Which, if I need to pull up that statute
Sir, do you,
case as well.
sir, do you still have the same phone number you had posted on your bond that you have with AAA Butler County Bail Bonds? Is that still your current phone number?
My honor, Mrs.
316-252?
My honor, Webster, it is, you may call me either Anthony Dubus or Anthony Edward Dubus. I do not accept the term sir.
Very
Although,
well.
yes, my phone number is still the same at 316-252-9724.
All right. And is your address, okay. Jess's iPhone needs to be locked. And Mr. Dubois, is your address still homeless, or do you have something more specific at this time?
See, they refuse to put down my address. I am within Wichita, Kansas, rural free delivery within the 4-corner rule 67202, aka the brackets around 67202. And they refused to put down my rural free delivery address and put me as homeless instead because they could not accept it. They refused. Also, Deputy Khalid Barake, when I was taken to Butler County Detention Center refused that there were any magistrates at all within any of the courts, which per due process of common law, I was to be taken before a magistrate or a tribunal, both judicial, either Article 3 or 4, in front of a magistrate judge to be decided whether or not I was even within the jurisdiction to be tried for these charges or commercial crimes.
Your next court date will be 2 weeks from Monday. What do you have, Ashley? 2 weeks from this past Monday. What is it?
I believe that is going to be Monday, the 18th.
All right, Mr. Dubois, your next court date is December 18th at 8 a.m. by Zoom. You can always appear in the courthouse personally if you like. I am appointing Attorney Darren Patterson. Now, if you don't want to use him,
I do not accept any appointment of any attorney.
But I show that you don't have a specific residence. Do you have a job, employment?
I did, and then these actions against myself from the state of Kansas caused me not to have it anymore, which I am in process of finding another one, putting in applications every day and making sure I do my due diligence to make sure that I can gain my compensation and my livable wage.
Well, your attorney is Darren Patterson.
My honor.
His number is 316-322-7700. Ashley, please send him Mr. Patterson, the appointment and the court date. I want you two to talk. If he can be of any service to you, I would encourage you to let him do so. If you have any questions or if you want him to help you with any motions, he can advise you on that. But I think at this point, there is a lot of confusion on your part about
there's no confusion.
And how it works. Did you
I've
go to
researched
law school,
more than-
Mr. Dubois? Did you go to law school? Are you a licensed attorney?
It is Anthony Dubois or Anthony Edward Dubois. No, I am not a licensed practice attorney, although that does not stop the common law right of anybody practicing law for themselves, or not practicing, as that is the commercial term, enacting law and being in court for themselves, on behalf of themselves, and to have any form of counsel they deem necessary.
All right, we do have finally a point we agree on, that you don't have to have counsel. But I want Mr. Patterson available to you because you have, in this court's opinion, mixed federal law and state law and other sources of law that don't all go together.
May I elaborate?
I just want him to be available to you. I think we have exhausted this particular hearing, the purpose of which is merely to make sure you know what the charges are, the possible penalties, and your rights that I have gone over with you, including your right to counsel, which I'm hearing you say you don't wish to utilize. But nevertheless, I'm going to direct Mr. Patterson to at least be available to you, that you be here again December 18th at 8 a.m. by Zoom, and I'm going to continue your bond until that date and time. So anything else, Mr. Anthony Edward Dubois, please take that up. Thank you. Please take that up at the next hearing after you've had time to talk to Mr. Patterson.
Okay, my final thing I want to say is I'm already filing Kansas Commission on Judicial Conduct complaint against a judge, and that would be the prior judge, Mr. Mr. Lee, I believe, and I will be adding you to the complaint as well, as you are violating my due process right and my Sixth Amendment right.
Well, you're welcome to do that, sir, if you want, but at this time, this hearing is adjourned.
Okay, and I also want to mention that Mr. Regier has not moved this case against myself, and that the witness, firsthand witness that needs to be present to move this case against myself is not present
Your
and is a
arguments,
violation of my Sixth Amendment. I yield.
your arguments are noted, and we are in recess. You are excused at this time, Mr. Anthony Edward Dubois.
Dubus, thank you. My honor.
Dubus, I will get it, Dubus.
You're fine. And in the reference to the family, of which you are probably familiar with,
Yes.
I am the only person actually up being within common law. They subject themselves as citizens, of which I'm not, and that is probably where the familiarity of the last name comes from. And
All right.
I appreciate your time. Thank you. And I hope you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too.
So let's break down what we just witnessed. This was only an arraignment, meaning no final verdict yet, but the tone of the case is already very clear. The defendant relied heavily on sovereign citizen-style arguments, questioning jurisdiction, redefining legal identity, and attempting to override statutory law with personal interpretations. The judge, on the other hand, stayed focused, professional, and grounded in actual legal procedure. One of the most important takeaways here is this: belief does not override law. No matter how strongly someone argues these points, courts operate on established statutes, not individual interpretations of sovereignty or commercial codes. We also saw the risks of self-representation. Missing filings, procedural confusion, and misapplied legal concepts can seriously weaken a case before it even begins. That's exactly why the judge insisted on making an attorney available, even if the defendant refuses to use one. And this case isn't over yet. If this is just the beginning, the next hearing could get even more intense. Now I want to hear from you. Who do you think handled this better, the judge or the defendant? And do you think this strategy will work moving forward? If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.